Love yourself. There was days where I broke the digital detox, and there was days when I didn't do 3 meditations, and there was days when, I did this and that, but I never, ever, ever went, why didn't you do the 3 meditations? Oh, you're failing the digital detox. Oh, you're not doing it right. It's like, no, we're all human. You know what I mean? And if you're not going to love yourself, man, like, who is? You're going to love, it's all part of it.
Astley, how are you going? Everything all right with you?
Yeah, it's going good, thank you, Will. I appreciate the time, and I appreciate you having me on your podcast. And
cool, bro.
I just enjoy the fact that we're connecting and we're staying connected. You know what I mean? I think that's really important during this COVID time and lockdown. To stay connected, and it makes I think connection for everybody is just, it makes you feel good.
Yeah,
makes you feel like you're loved. Makes you feel like someone wants to listen to you. Makes you feel not important, but someone to talk to is always nice. So I just appreciate being on here, and thank you for having me.
Oh, dude. I mean, I had to reach out to you when I saw your latest venture, which is 100 conversations, but in the 2-week lockdown. Am I right there? So what's the maths on that? That's like 10 a day or something.
It was pretty much 10 a day. And I'll tell you this much, I could easily do the 10 conversations. The talking's not the hard part. I could talk every minute of the day, and I just genuinely enjoy connection and listening and speaking. It's the editing the videos that's really hard. It's like it takes a lot of time. I've got like 5 conversations banked up, and I just need to get into the editing, but I just like talking to people too much. But it's been an awesome journey, and the co-papa behind that is just to stay connected with our friends, family, and also people that I don't know, like yourself. And I think that that's really awesome as well. Like, if I didn't start that journey, I never would have had this opportunity to have a conversation with you, learn a bit about your podcast and yourself, and share,
Yeah.
So I'm really grateful for the journey, and I'm grateful just to be here.
Yeah, bro, me too. And there's this idea of connection, and we have to kind of seek it out in today's world. But I mean, there was many years that went by where this was a necessity, like food and water and connected. You had to be part of your people, or you got left behind or forgotten about or eaten by some animal or something like that. And now we've kind of removed ourselves from it. That, isn't it strange, bro, that you need something like a COVID to go after this 100 conversation thing? I mean, ideally, I guess a good gauge on how the health of the world's going is that would be encouraged. And I guess it kind of is, right? You're in radio, so you talk to people all the time. Is there any differences you find with doing it, on your own platform versus doing it, I guess for, radio and stuff like that? Or is it still the same?
I think personally, I find it different because for me, being on my personal brand page and my personal sort of social media channels, that's really Astley. Like, that's really me connecting with these people and opening up that pathway for people to connect with me as well. And as much as those pathways are open on radio, I think that there's almost like this persona that you have and you put on, and not that I try to, but it's just the nature of the beast, right? And when you put on this platform and you've got the reach that the radio station has, it's a different kettle of fish. Whereas these conversations, these are long-winded. They're 30 minutes, 40 minutes. We're not just doing one break. We were talking about, hey, when was the last time your pet embarrassed you? It's like, hey, how are you? How's life? How are you going in COVID? And it's a long-winded platform. So I personally love the long chats and really getting to know people. So I think there is a little bit of a difference there, and there's not so much of an agenda, because at the end of the day, radio stations, right? We're there to make money. It's a commercial business.
Yeah. And
as us as announcers and broadcasters, we like to connect to the people. But then when you broaden your spectrum and you actually see what the business is, it's there to make money. So, if, as much as I'd want to talk to someone for 30 minutes and have a talk, we can't do that. You know what I mean? Because it's just not part of the business. So I really enjoy it. I'm loving it. I'm really excited. Like, it's so nice to just talk to people and be able to have that time.
Bro, do you think that do you ever think forward a little bit about media? I mean, I guess I asked that for a couple of reasons. That, you know, the thing that captured me about the podcast was it was in some, not officially, but it seemed to be the antidote to structure. And you know, in the early days, it was a little bit like what I imagine radio was like in the early days. You know, we're doing this thing, and all the television and film people think we're silly, but we're doing it anyway. And there's this kind of amateur side to it, but you know, it's quickly caught up. You know, everyone's got the microphones now, and you can plug it into your computer and do all these things. I just wonder where the future goes, and if you ever think about that stuff, you know, if it's like maybe it's somewhere in the middle of you know, this professional side versus kind of amateur, or, you know, is it long form like these 3-hour conversations, or is it TikTok where it's 15 seconds? I mean, maybe it's everything, but one of the things I wonder is if we're coming up today, what do you pin your hopes on? You know, it's not so clear who to follow and what is so I guess there's a bit there, bro. But yeah, I guess the first thing is, do you kind of think forward as to what this whole thing you're doing will eventuate in?
For me, I've always just had a passion for media and a passion for video and a passion for broadcasting. So I think that I'm in the right place for where I'm supposed to be, and I really enjoy it. But yes, I'm a very ambitious person. I do think about the future. I think about my future all the time. I think about my longevity in radio. How do I create a long-lasting career and a legacy of something that I'm proud of? I think about if I was to lose my job at the end of the year, like, what would I do? And in terms of the media landscape, for me, I think that it's in doing what you believe in and what's your passion. If you follow that and you chase that, whether that's a podcast, whether that's a vlog YouTube series, or, you know, trying to be a presenter or creating a television station or being a streamer on Twitch for gaming, if you're passionate about it and you enjoy it, that's going to bring out the best product. And I think people just enjoy seeing authentic, real selves. And that's where I see media going in the future, because we all just want real conversation. We all just want the person to be their real self. If you swear 10 times every minute, that's you. That's your being. If you're someone who likes to, let's just go outrageous and say, someone who does a different fart on a podcast every day, there will be an audience out there for you if you're passionate about it and you enjoy it. So I think that it's going to go away from sort of, there'll always be everything, your TikToks, your YouTubes, your whatever. But I think that personal branding and doing things that you're passionate about in your personal brand is probably the future, in my opinion.
Yeah, bro. And look, it's a good opinion. The one thing I did think, though, was we kind of have a version of that in the comment section on Facebook, for example. Any bugger can say anything. And now it's freaking the world out, right? Because we're like, how dare you say that? Or you're not allowed to say that. And who's allowed to say what? And I sit there sometime and I'm like, this is what happens when you tell people they could do whatever they want. They reveal, well, they do it under a certain amount of safety, I guess, because you're not in front of people. But still, there's this blind spot we seem to have, which is just because I'm typing it or putting it up, it exists, you know. And I have to catch myself sometimes after lots and lots of podcasts, making sure that who's the person I'm bringing across, you know? Is it the same person that my family gets to see, or is it just this Will who... Because I don't know, man, like you kind of talked about the radio station and, you know, there's a version of yourself, and I've always tried to just keep it to how I am, but we are different in different circumstance, you know, and I'm different when I'm Will Dad, I'm different when I'm colleague Will, but it'd be nice to try and find out who are those people I'm talking about when it comes to me, and can I line them up so that they just will, and I guess maybe that's a journey for older age or something like that. But
I think that's always going to be something that we deal with, because the fact of the matter is, once you push that record button and the red light goes on, it's different, man. That you can be as authentic as you think you want to be, but at the end of the day, like as you just said, you're going to speak to your wife or your partner or your kids. You're going to be a different person, right? Even when the record button goes on, I project my voice louder.
Yes.
So that it's clearer. And that's a different being, you know what I mean? I might be saying the same things, but there's a different persona and there's a different sort of energy coming out. And that's just because I just think that that's right for a podcast.
Yeah.
You know, that's just how I see it.
Yeah.
But I think if we just try and be as authentic and as loving and as caring as possible, and as long as you got love in your heart and you're, and you're not, hurting someone or discriminating or whatever that might be, then I think that's okay.
Yeah, bro. Like I've been saying a lot at the moment, look, my intent's rock solid. My execution may be a bit wobbly from time to time, and I get it, I'm a creative person and I hard on sleeve and all these type of things, but intent's rock solid. So even in the bad stuff, it's like, oof, I thought I was doing a solid, but I was actually unconsciously, doing something a bit silly. So yeah, it's a good thing. Hey bro, what do you call it in radio when you like go to an ad break? Because I'm about to go to an ad break, but you're like the first broadcaster that I've had on the podcast. And I want to learn a little bit, because what I normally try and do is like listen to what you're saying, look at my timer here, and then say, all right, well, we're going to pick up on this little bit. Is that roughly how you guys do it?
That's exactly what I'll do. So I'll be like, look, coming up next, we're going to talk about Astley's digital detox and find out how it treated him, whatever it might be. And then we're just going to go pay the bills.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to use that. We're going to go to a break and we'll be back right in a second. Cool, brother. So, yeah, man, look, there's plenty of other things that I want to dig deep in, but if we just go back a bit, if you're cool with that, what's your pathway into the media landscape? Like, is this something that you wanted to do from a youngster? Like, did you have mentors kind of who guided you a little bit? How did you get into radio?
Is this part of it? Or?
Yeah, bro.
Oh, yeah, cool, awesome.
Sorry. No, sorry, I just went straight in. I was like, boom, start the timer.
I was like, we're not back, we're just straight in. Okay. So for me, so I went to Duluth School. I studied there. I went from the age of 9 to 18, full-time boarder. There was a school for underprivileged kids, and at the end of my years at Duluth, I got a scholarship to go to AUT.
Sweet.
And I went to AUT, I studied multimedia, and I got my degree, which was awesome. I really enjoyed my time, and I think the degree helped me definitely. But after graduating, it was really hard to find a job. There's just like hundreds of graduates, and communications is a massive degree when it goes to university, because everybody wants to be a presenter, everyone wants to be on radio, everyone wants to be the face of something because it's exciting, it's a cool job. So it took me about 2.5 years, I think, to even get a foot in the door. So I was doing bits and bobs here and there. I was working at cafes. I was at a printing company for a while, just printing out business cards. And then the opportunity came up at Flava to be the online. It was called an online producer.
Yeah.
So essentially what that was the person who contented the website, did the social media, did the Facebooks, the Instagrams. And after these 2 years, I was kind of just really upset, to be honest. I was like, am I ever going to get a shot? I know that I've got the goods. I know that I want to be in this industry, but no one's giving me a chance, So instead of sending in a CV, like a piece of paper, I made a video. And the reasoning behind that was, I don't think that I can describe and showing an employer who Astley is on an A4 piece of paper.
Right.
I can't show you my ambition. I can't show you my willingness to work, my drive, my attention to detail, the fact that I can learn fast. So I made a video, and it was pretty much just Astley. I was doing a bit of jokes. I was making it funny, a couple of editing techniques, you know, really just me in the video. And I got an interview off of that video, and I met the boss. And it was funny because they had actually already pretty much signed somebody. It was a girl. She had already been signed. And then the guy that was hiring at the time, he wasn't the boss of Flava. He was the boss of the online team. And he was like, oh, bro, I think you need to meet this guy. I know we're close to like signing this chick, but I think you need to meet this guy because of the video. Had an interview with the Flava boss at the time. His name was Hayden Hade. And I just came in. I was like, hey, bro, this is me. And we had a good old chat. And he's like, yeah, you're in.
Wow.
I got my shot. And I was like, awesome. And I was so grateful because it was the first kind of opportunity that I had to really spread my wings in the media industry. And I just took it and ran with it. So I did the online website contenting and did really well. You know, got some good numbers for Flava, broke some records, like, you know, did my stuff. And then I was also creating digital content on the side for Flava. So I was doing all these videos, and I was like trying to do as much as possible. If there's any opportunities that came up, I'd be like, yep, I'll do it. Do you want to go on the street and do this? Yep, I'll do it. Do you want to go to this event? Yep, I'll be there. And I always kind of made my intentions clear that, yeah, I was here and I would go on air if the opportunity ever arose. And one night, the night show host got sick, and my boss came in and he's like, yo, do you want to go on radio? I go, yep, hard. So I got thrown in the deep end, had my first show. Oh my gosh, it was...
Do you remember it?
Wasn't a good... Yeah, I remember it. It wasn't recorded or anything. I don't have it. I wish I did because, oh man, I'd love to hear that again. But I remember just shouting out my mom. I was like, Mom, like shout out to my mom. I'm on the radio. Shout out to my auntie out in Brisbane. You know, it was just like, man, it was a crazy night. And then I think the night show host was sick for like maybe a month later. He was sick for like a week. I got the night show. Had that little stint there for a week. And then at the time, I was kind of coming up to the end of my contract. And my FM caught whisper of it. And the boss at the time came over and he's like, look, I've heard really good things about you. The team over here, they speak highly of you. And there's a position to be the assistant content director. So it sounds like a big title, but really it's just like the errands boy for the boss of the station.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, man, like definitely won't turn down the opportunity. Thank you for the, like, you know, approaching me. And I kind of went back to my team at the time. And I was like, look, dude, someone's offered me opportunity over the other side. I want to let you know, and I haven't said anything. I haven't accepted it. I haven't got any contracts, but I love where I work. I love the team. I love everything about Flava, and I'm a loyal person. So I just wanted to give you the heads up and kind of let you know. He was kind of a little bit shitty, to be honest. He was like, that kind of old school mentality. Oh, if you want to go, then go. Yeah. He settled down, and he talked to his bosses, the higher ups, and they came back and they're like, look, we really appreciate you. We think you're a great worker. We don't want you to leave the company. Would you like the night show next year? And I go, oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Hard out. 100%. Yeah, I want to stay and I want to do the night show. Then I got the night show and kind of ran with that for about 6 months. And then after 6 months, the boss at the time, same guy, came in and he's like, yep, you've been doing a good job. You've been doing these videos and stuff. How would you like to go on drive? And I was like, oh, far out. Okay, yeah, man, keen to go on drive. And I went on drive, signed a contract to go on drive for 2 years. And after that, about halfway through the second year, they were like, hey, doing well, really enjoy what you're up to. How would you like to go on breakfast? And I was like, yeah, that's where I want to be. And that was kind of like the journey to where I am now.
Wow. So what does COVID mean for this? Are you guys still in the studio? Are you at home? How does that work?
Yeah, so we are essential workers.
Yep.
So we still go to the studio. So my day is actually pretty normal. The only thing that's different about work is there's just not that many people.
Yeah.
So there's not really anyone in the office. There's no sort of like sales people or sales reps or anything like that. It's all just the announcers and the producers, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So life's pretty normal for me, man. Like, if anything, it's easier because I just go on and do the show, and they're like, "Get out." As soon as it's finished, get out, go home. You need to go home. So I'm like, sweet, go home, do the mahi, and then come home.
Yeah, bro. And what about like trying to find the balance of tone, you know, with obviously look, and I say this stuff without being really in the know. I'm assuming, and I have to say that because I'm torn. I think it's awesome people being at home, you know, because I think it sucks when you're at work all the time, you know, and I think that's stressful. And I don't like people having to go to work all the time just to do this. So there is a side of me which is like, it's awesome to be at home, but I know that's not everyone's story, and maybe home is not fun and all of that kind of stuff. But I guess when you're thinking about producing a show for people listening, what's the right level of humor versus kind of pick me up? And is that something that you're consciously thinking about, or are you just trying to hang with people?
Oh, I think it's interesting because when you go into the studio, you're still a human being, right? So you still get affected by the news that's around, and you still have a bad day every now and then, and you have a good day here and there. So as much as I'd like to say, you know, I know what I'm going to do every day, it's like sometimes you just can't help it. Yeah. But I guess my general sort of consensus on the show, especially during lockdown, is I just try and be positive. I try and spread positive energy, and I try and stay upbeat, and I just try and remind people to be grateful, because at the end of the day, you know, you might be stuck at home for a couple of weeks, and, you know, that sucks. And you might be working from home, and it might be hard with the kids and whatever's going on in your situation. But I literally had a game of Fortnite. I was in a tournament on Sunday, and I was playing with an 8-year-old, and he had cancer last year, and he had a year of treatment. And I'm like, man, is my life and is your life really that bad? No, I don't think so. I haven't had to deal with something like that in my life. So I always just try and just stay positive, but also remind people, man, we're all good. We're okay.
Yeah.
You know, we can get through this. Everything's going to be fine. And that's the kind of energy that I like myself. So I can only try and be my authentic self on the radio. And if that's not good enough, and if that's not what people want, then hey, it is what it is. But to me, that's the way I want to deliver it. So that's how I'm gonna deliver it.
Well, look, and I think it just sounds very logical and awesome. And I don't think if people say they don't want that, they're masking that with something else, right? Like, because we've all got stuff to work on, but who the hell doesn't want positivity and a lift me up? Like, this is the essence of how we need to survive. You know, I've read those horrible studies of, I believe in war-torn countries where there were babies where people didn't talk to, and like they died. We need connection, you know? And I think what's interesting is we get it in this algorithm or social media or this digital way, but it kind of, I think we all know deep down it's not quite enough. So it's okay to kind of a surrogate, but it'll, you know, it's like a vitamin. You need it, You need the in-person. So I think one of the interesting things will be to see the kind of, hopefully what this brings on is new industries of, you know, we need to get together. We just need to do it carefully, but we need to, like, you know, I don't know if you ever watch those shows where they have those experts with micro expressions and they can tell things about you, and like they can tell by shaking your hand or reading your pulse and stuff like that. Like, there's this whole other language, right, that we speak, and it's not in digital form. It's based on, I don't know, chemicals or interactions with people and smells, and, you know, like really deep down stuff that we've totally I don't know, we just threw that stuff out and said, no, it's all about I don't know, whatever else it is. But bro, I'd like to, after the break, I guess you've raised a couple things in this chat with me that I want to follow up on. One of them is, it comes across as a bit of drive that you got, that you had to stick out those 2 years and stick out the night shift and take the opportunity. And, it definitely doesn't sound like it's handed to you on a platter. And I think people really respond to that, including me, because that's what we want to hear. We want to hear that our hard work and our worry is for something, that it means something when you take the punt and say, hey, they want me over here, so what do you want to do? And because those things backfire sometimes, and it's not always easy to be brave and put your hand up and say, I'm worth it. So I guess I'd just like to pick up in the next segment on just where that kind of internal drive for you comes. I think that's something we overlook as people. We're just like, he's going for it. It's like, why? Why? Are you using the good power or the bad power or a mixture of two? And the other thing is just like maybe just daring to dream for others who are watching this or listening, and they're like, man, I want to follow my whatevers, but I don't know where to start. So yeah, we'll take a little break. Astley, we're back. Yeah, man. So I don't know. One thing I picked up on, you were talking about like going to Dilworth, was it, at 8? I mean, that's pretty young.
9 years old. Yeah.
It's young to go to school with a bunch of others. And what are those memories for you, bro? Like, because I went to boarding school, but not till 13. So that was traumatic. What was 9 years old like?
Yeah, see, like Dilworth is a very special school for me, and I love the place, man. I have nothing but love for Dilworth School. It's really shaped and helped shape the man that I am today. And it's a special school because it's a school for underprivileged kids. So every boy that goes there, it's only a boys' school, comes from an underprivileged background. So it's just a really special school. My case was I had a solo parent. So when I was young, I grew up with my mum. She looked after me, gave me a great life, and I really, still to this day, just have the utmost love and respect for her. She's probably my number one role model. And she just pretty much sat me down and goes, look, I think you should go to Dilworth. I think it'll be an amazing opportunity for you. It'll help me out. The school's got great opportunities, and I don't know if I'll be able to get those for you. So I think it'll be a good decision, and it'll help me. The main thing was it'll help me. And I go, okay, sweet, all good. And ever since she told me that, I was like, I went into the interviews, did whatever I could to kind of put my best foot forward. And I was lucky enough to be one of the 20 that got accepted in year 5, 9 years old. And I never looked back. I absolutely love the place. I've got brothers there that I'll never ever lose. They're blood brothers, and we're still connected to this day, and from when I was 9. So I just loved it. I loved boarding school. I loved hanging out with my mates. I loved staying there, playing sports. It was just everything was. I just enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, and I guess what's special for me is to hear, like, when you were saying you were giving shout outs to people on that first shot you got in the radio, it's like that meant something, right? Because the sacrifice mum had to make to, it's something, well, yeah, go do this because I know we'll be banking for later, but there's still a lot of evenings missing out, on those times. And I mean, look, I also went to boarding school at 13, but I don't know. I didn't have those real positive memories from it, and I don't know if it's just because it was Auckland Grammar School and, there's this young half
grammar. Okay.
Yeah. So little half young Raro kid, and the rest were bogans, and they didn't quite know what to do with me. And I guess I rolled my own way, but I guess it was all right. But I always thought, oh man, I would have been sweet to be at home. And maybe that's just because I'm the youngest of, 3 brothers and sisters. I always had people around me. And then all of a sudden, I wasn't the center of attention, but
Yeah.
in some ways, like I've looked back on those and I thought, no, that's a gift actually, because, there's nothing good comes of being a spoilt brat, and it will get you into trouble, and it actually hasn't been fun. So what am I, nearly 40 now, but 20s and half of my 30s was still acting as if it will all be fine. But you got to work for it, and that's the weird thing that people kind of, it's your own journey to go through, and I think it's just easier when you go through it a bit younger. And there's some levels of that still in me, which is like, I'll chase my dreams and stuff, but I definitely don't want to be, the interesting guy who's going out chasing his dreams still at 50. I'm like, nah, man, 10 years and I got to get this, because then it's time to pass that on. Otherwise you're just the man child walking around. And so that's why it's like, I don't know, COVID for me awoke that, to say,
what is your dream? What are you, is your dream to be a full-time podcaster? Is that
no,
is that your passion? What is it?
Like, Astley, the weird thing for me is that I grew up in a way where I had so much love and support and resource that I didn't really need to burn a candle for a dream. Life was wicked. It's bit me in the butt as an adult because I've had to try and relearn as to, why do bad things happen? I don't understand it. I don't understand why people can't just get along with each other. I don't understand why there's not enough for everyone, why things can't be fair, because that's all I witnessed growing up. I came from these two cultures where, both were nice to me, both loved me, and both held me up and projected me forward. The area I've had to really do some work on is like, that's definitely not the standard case for everybody. So I guess when you say, what's my dream? Well, I don't know exactly, but like I have, and this will sound cheesy, but it sounds really cheesy actually. Like I have a lot of love to give, and that's why I say my intent is rock solid because I'm not dealing with too much apart from what's in front of me and trying to get over, growing up as a bit of a spoiled brat. I think that it's exactly what the world needs is a little bit of, there's plenty of people telling you to grind it out and do this and just, work in the evenings and all that stuff. But I don't really hear too many people saying, what's really awesome is, trying to, if you get married, trying to stay married because the statistics are against most people, that it's really hard. I like the little things, and I think the little things are always overlooked. Like we'll say to people, find love in your life. And I don't reckon we sit down and say how hard that is. That's the hardest thing,
Oh yeah.
There's so many
You're telling me.
Yeah, bro. and we just say it, like find a good job. It's like, well, hold on a minute. What do you mean by that? Because there's so many levels which we just take for granted. So, I get myself into a bit of trouble because I'm not a fan of like words that we think mean something but don't. I don't like words like mindfulness. I don't like words like mental health. I don't like words like love. I really love what they mean, but you can't stare at them and expect them to be something. They're a conglomerate of things, like health is not anything. It's just a mixture of things that you have to pull together yourself. So I guess for me, I'd like to be able to find a way to explore those, I guess scientifically and metaphorically. That's what the podcast does for me. I'm able to test ideas on a variety of people. And I guess we were speaking a bit in the DMs about, like something I'm really learning a lot at the moment is breathing and how this influences our day to day. It's the little things. We think we just breathe, but no, we don't. We breathe based on what's around us, and the breath influences our mind, and then our mind tells us what to do. And it's like all these things are happening simultaneously. And, if you look at the statistics on when they say mental health, like a lot of these things tie back to just, anxiety is driven by fight or flight, and fight or flight is driven by your breathing and your nervousness and it not being able to turn off, and I just think, So sorry, bro.
Theta state as well.
Mm.
You know, I think like the first 7 years of your life, your brain is in theta state, and that's the formative years of your life. And if your first 7 years is, you know, not filled with love and color and excitement and stuff like that, it can definitely affect you later on in life. And part of that is the breathing. And when we're getting older, we are starting to understand positive affirmations and, you know, the science behind that. Like, that's all things that, as you said, can contribute to your health overall. But it's not just one thing. Health is so big.
Yeah, bro. And life is like that too, right?
Life
We're all
is
just
huge.
like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. And we kind of have to, in some ways, you know, that's where the idea of a brand, and I'll be interested to know what you think about this. You know, it's like, that's our brand and that's who I am, or that's who we are. But there's a danger too of like locking ourselves into this thing, because I think one of the beauties is like we physically change. You know, you go from young kid. Is there a party?
Can you hear that?
Yeah, but that's all right. Sounds like you got some
kids riding on bikes, playing all this music on the speakers.
See, life is chaos. That's great. It's happening.
Oh gosh.
That's awesome. Yeah, look, plenty of things that we're diving into, and we'll go to a quick break and we'll come back, man. And look, I guess I'd just like to pick your brains about, well, two things. You know, how you've processed, you know, the days that aren't good. You know what I mean? Like, so strategies and tools. And then maybe if someone's listening on Oriana TV or on the podcast space and they're like, you know, Astley sounds like me. It's just that I'm doing construction or something else, and I want to have a go at this other side of stuff too, you know, where I get to be creative and share who I, you know, really am. Maybe just a few tips and tricks, you know, and even for the older people out there too, right? It's just because you're not the young whippersnapper doesn't mean you can't go off and show the world whatever it is you want to. So, yeah, that'd be cool, bro, if we just stay with us and be back in a second. Kind of been on a bit of a journey. It's fun chatting to you. I hope I haven't been talking too much. When I get a bit excited, my fight or flight takes over, and I'm like, I want to say more.
Good. No, I love listening as well. You know, I love learning your story. And as I said, it's good to be connected, and I don't want to be sitting there talking too much either. So I like it. I appreciate it.
Sweet, bro. So, Astley, have you, you know, I guess we see the version of you which is correct. Like, and I think about this a lot. The version we put ourselves in public should be one we're proud of, you know, and should be one we aim to aspire to be. You know, even if sometimes we're faking it till we're making it, we definitely have to put the front foot forward and hope the other catches up. And from, you know, the stuff I've seen from you, and, you know, it just, I don't know, I would assume a lot of people explain to you, you just come across as a genuine person. And I guess that's something that you may or may not have influenced, but I suspect not. It's just you know, and that seems to have worked for you. But on those days where, you know, I don't know, you're trying to process the world around you, or it's all too much, is there things that you've implemented in your life, bro, which, you know, you can lean on in the tougher times?
Yeah, definitely. And look, I'm not a perfect being, and there's definitely days where I go like, you know, have bad days, and especially, I just want to give props to this 60-day digital detox, because in the past I've told myself that I'm working on myself and I'm taking care of my mentality and I'm working on my inner being. And I think looking back, I'm like, I think I was lying to myself. You know, I was like, I'm working on myself, but really I still have those underlying problems or issues that everyone has, right? Everyone has whatever they have going on in their lives, and I'm no different. But the 60-day digital detox really helped me to get a routine in place and find those tools to be able to deal with those challenging days and challenging moments a lot better. And one of them that I think of straight away is my gratitude book. I've got a little gratitude book, and every day I try and write 5 to 10 things that I'm grateful for. And I remember I finished the detox about 3 weeks ago, and there's a few things going on, and I was just stressing out because I was back in the real world, and I'm like, oh my God, am I getting on social media? And my brain started ticking again, right? In the 60 days, I was nice, I was calm, I was just taking in everything around me, just being grateful. But then when that finished, I was like, oh my gosh, all this busy noise came back in, which I was trying to get away from. And then it was about a couple of days ago, actually, and I was like, I haven't written in my book in a while, and I haven't meditated, and I haven't done any positive affirmations. And I did that like 2 nights ago. And just to have those tools ready to go and to do that, and I felt instantly better, was such a cool feeling for me. You know, it's like I've built in those routines and those tools through that 60 days that I can always go back to. And if anything, I realized that I need to keep doing that throughout my life. So yes. I think meditation, positive affirmations, gratitude, being grateful, like those. And I know, again, it sounds cheesy. But that genuinely worked for me. Like out of my 60 days, I had 55 good to great days. The 55 good to great days, majority of those being great days. And that to me was, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't even string together potentially 4 good to great days before the digital detox. And then in that 60 days, 55 days. So I was like, man, this definitely works. And regardless of if it works for you or for this person or that person or whoever's listening, for me, it did. So like, I was just, like those are the tools that I'm always going to go back to. And I think the positive affirmations one is huge as well. But actually all 3 of them, gratitude book, positive affirmations, and meditation, like they changed my life. They really did.
And I would kind of kick myself later, because if I was watching or listening to this, I'll be like, what do you mean? Give me some examples. So if we just take those 3 ideas, so the meditation, do you have something you follow?
So I kind of, the digital detox that I did was about reprogramming my self-belief, right? Because my beliefs before the digital detox, as much as people might have thought, oh, yo, Astley's all good, and you know, he's happy, and he's like whatever that might be, I had my struggles, right? I was going through things in my life, had some relationship dramas, and these are things that you just don't want to share on the radio, right? Yep. It's respectful. I don't want to talk about my situation to the public. Like, that's not all good. But the digital detox was from a guy called Wesley Virgin, and he gave a link for a meditation, and it was a 20-minute meditation link. And it was just a bit of music that kind of triggered the theta brainwaves. And essentially, my schedule in the morning was I'd wake up, first thing I do, in the first 30 minutes that you wake up, your brain is in theta state. So you're so much more receptive to things. So if you wake up and you go on your phone and you see social media and something triggers you negatively, that can really affect your day. So the first thing I'd do when I woke up was I'd do a meditation, 20 minutes, sit there, breathe. It's funny that, like, this is why I was so interested in your breathing techniques, because breathing is so key in meditation as well. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, man, breathing is a massive part of everything that I did. Breathe. Don't think about too much. Just focus on my breathing. That was essentially the morning meditation. 20 minutes. Don't even have to get up. Lie in bed. 4 seconds in, 8 seconds out. That was essentially the morning. Get up, do my stuff, get into my day. I did a midday meditation, and the midday meditation was really, really, really strong. And this one was about visualizing who you are as a person. Like, who is Astley? What am I about? What do I want to be about? Where do I see myself in 5 years? And once you start to visualize that, you start easy in the first couple of days, but once you start to get a bit of a picture of yourself and you go, yeah, you know what? That's who I want to be. you start thinking, who am I? And you go, I am that. And it's visualizing that you are that person right now. And for me, the things that I was kind of visualizing was, I'm a positive person. I'm a positive energy. I am love. I am a leader. That was essentially like my big focus is on through the 60 days. And then at night, similar to the morning, just get in bed just before you go to sleep. Same in the morning, same at night. 30 minutes before you go to sleep, your brain goes into theta state and you're so much more receptive. So if you're filling that time with meditation and being grateful, you just feel like a better being. It just brings in that positivity into your life. So 20 minutes morning, 20 minutes midday, 20 minutes at night. And then I just started to vary it because I started to get a little bit over the same song. So I've changed the music, or I started to implement positive affirmations, and they really helped. And you can chop and change. You can do a meditation in the morning and a positive affirmation at night. You can do a positive affirmation in the morning, meditation at night. But yeah, that was essentially my schedule. And the positive affirmation one's real easy. You just find something on Spotify or YouTube, positive affirmations to start my day. And then they pretty much just go, hey, I am love. I am going to make connections today. I am worthy of people's love. All of that stuff. And as cheesy as it sounds, it really, really, really helped me. It put me in a positive place. I felt like every day I was going in and really going in with a positive mind frame. I was so much more open, less reactive. Just everything kind of opened up. I felt like opportunities were coming to me as well. A lot more opportunities. Like, it was almost like I opened the door to launching my life and my career and everything. So that was kind of, hopefully that was a bit of an explanation of.
Oh, and it totally is, right? It totally is. And you won't know this because you said it. But for those of us listening, it's like, oh, good, you gave us a good running map of something to aim towards, right? This is the bit that we all forget. We assume people know what you mean by stuff. Not you, but in general. It's like, oh, just do this and do that. It's like, no, give me a bit more. Now I know I can find that stuff on YouTube. I got to do it first thing in the morning, and I'm going to hit that 20 minutes, and I can't help but think in this world, we need a bit more cheesy because everything's so, so straight, and it's like, it's so logic, or fake, or whatever it is. It's so narrative based that these feelings that I guess Kiwis traditionally aren't that good at processing. It is the thing I think that will help us, and people like yourself, firstly saying that stuff, I'm just grateful. I think it's really good. And I kind of get a bit of a kick that I know this is the only podcast on this TV platform, and I know we're the only ones having this type of chat. And I love it.
It's cool, isn't it?
It's cool.
It's so cool.
That's what I think this will be quite normal soon. But right now it's still like, yes, we get to slip in these cool little things that people watching will be like, oh, sweet. We don't assume that everyone knows that the power of what you're talking about, the 4 seconds in. Yeah.
Seriously, I used to train all the time. I go to the gym 5 times a week, and these 60 days was the first time that I really trained my mentality. And I kid you not, like, it changed my life. Like, your brain is a muscle, just like your biceps, just like your chest, just like your thighs, just like your calves. And if you don't work it out, it's going to get lazy. It's not going to know what to do. And if you're working it out with junk food, like, negative thoughts and looking on social media and getting bogged down and thinking, oh, I don't want to go to work, and oh man, I got to go home and cook dinner, you're pretty much telling yourself and the world, give me more negativity. I'm attracting that. Once you start thinking like that and you're processing that in your mind, whether you like it or not, whether you're not even speaking out loud, you're just thinking it, you're attracting that energy. But if you flip the switch and you start to focus on your mentality and train it and do your positive affirmations and really focus on your meditations or whatever it might be for you, I think a lot of other people put it in religion, like having faith in God. Same. if you're thinking positive and you're thinking that your life is on track and you're thinking that I'm in the right place that I'm supposed to be, you create that energy for yourself and that pathway. And then the more that you invest in it and the more that you kind of really take that journey on, the more you'll get the benefits out of it. And I just want everyone to know that it's there and it helped me and it worked for me. And the number one rule out of all of this that I kind of gathered when I was through my 60 days was love yourself. You know, love yourself. There was days where I broke the digital detox, and there was days when I didn't do 3 meditations, and there was days when, you know, I did this and that, but I never, ever, ever went, oh, why didn't you do the 3 meditations? Oh, you're failing the digital detox. Oh, you're not doing it right. It's like, no, we're all human. You know what I mean? And if you're not going to love yourself, man, like, who is? You're going to love, you know, it's all part of it. I think that's really key.
Brian, two things. I can't wait to edit that up into its own little clip. You know, I'm like, yeah, that's those, you know, clips online that everyone's got some fancy music behind it and people are going to love it. But look, TV Land has told me that our time's up. So I just want to thank you, bro, for taking the time to join us in this kind of, you know, somewhat ring-fenced scenario we have. But I definitely feel like, you know, I think what needed to come across came across, and I'm so super grateful for your time. Where can people follow you if they want to just track your journey, you know? Oh, man,
you can just follow me on LinkedIn, Astley Nathan. I got my big boy pants on now. And, of course, Instagram at Astley Nathan. It's just my name. Yeah, if you want to come check it out and follow the journey and follow the Corridor 100, that's where they'll be.
Awesome. And just one last thing, because I was going to ask you about tips for getting into radio, but do you mind if after this we record a little bit on Instagram, and so people watching, they can jump over and have a look, just if they're keen on, you know, tips to get into radio, you know, something like that. But thanks again, brother, and yeah, really thank you. Stay safe, and we'll hopefully catch up in one day in person if that's allowed in the future.
100%. Thank you so much for having me.